Hi guys, I hope you're doing good. Let's just jump directly into the topic, which is the idea that self love is a flawed topic. Self love is a limited concept. Self love is good, but self respect, self integrity, self care are better, in my opinion. I will quote Jordan Peterson here, or paraphrase what he said about something that really stuck with me, which is the idea that it was one of the rules if in his book 12 rules for life or something like that. I've never read the book, but that line stuck with me, which is um, treat yourself as you'd be as someone you would be responsible for. It was around those lines, and it makes so much sense, and I really relate to that because the thing is, we hear so much people say, okay, you need to have self-love, and you need to love yourself, and you need to focus on yourself, and you need to give credit to yourself, and you need to put yourself in a way that almost other people don't matter. The idea to of being selfless, the idea of being generous, is not often talked about here, because you see that line of self love is often put forward by people who went through traumatic events, and may they overcome that, but it is flawed, it is limited, and it is low level type of way of behaving with yourself. Because the thing is, love is a passionate feeling. It is a feeling that relates to passion. It is a feeling that evokes a strong humanity. But the thing is, when you direct it towards yourself, it is a good thing. It is still positive, but it is limited. What you have to focus instead, if you want to cultivate a truly permanent way of being with yourself, is self respect, self integrity, self honor, honor towards yourself, and globally speaking, self care. Why I make the distinction here is because when you have integrity, when you have loyalty, when you respect yourself, ultimately you will treat yourself the right way. You will treat yourself in a way that you don't need a passionate feeling like love, or a feeling um, that gets you, close to yourself in a juvenile way, just like loving myself and focusing on myself, and being the best I can be, and to the point where you dissolve yourself in who you are, and you get obsessed with who you are. you know it's no coincidence that a lot of studies talk about one of the best ways to uh, get out of depression, for example, is to actually, yes, focus on yourself, but one of the primary things that will get you out of it, or of a depressed, we can say that, like a depressed state, is to actually focus on helping somebody else, to focus on caring towards somebody else. to give time to the little butterfly in the garden, in a way, to spend time with your grandmother, for example, to help your neighbor, to play with your dog or your pet, in your yard. By doing so, you distance yourself from your worries, from your problems, from your issues, from who you are, and you stop giving importance to the little dust, grain of dust that is living right now in the universe, that is you. So ultimately, when you treat yourself not out of self love, but out of self respect, mainly, I'm talking here mainly, obviously, self love is positive, um, if taken lightly, But usually, what I'm saying, like, avoid it, is because it's most of the time exaggerated to the point where people become really obsessed with themselves and, like, um, not truly happy. They're simply pretend to be happy by showing other people that they love themselves, which is really, like, pathetic, quite frankly, or just low level behavior here. And you see that often on social media and stuff with people who suffered a lot and all that. Yes, it is positive, but it is limited. Like, you have to go beyond that. And love needs to be directed towards something exterior to you, but what needs to be, if you want this permanent state of peace within you, if we can say that, you need the self respect, self integrity, because these are higher values, these are higher uh, moral values than, and more tangible, more permanent across time than simply the idea of, okay, loving myself. Oh, I'm so happy, because when you love yourself, usually you have, a good reason to love yourself. It's like, okay, you treat yourself in a way that it's like, oh, okay, yes, I'm feeling good. But when you have self-respect, or when you have integrity towards, so let's say, if you have, let's say, if we take an example, you have respect or integrity towards your parents, or just towards somebody you actually respect in your family, let's say, well, usually, whether you love them or not, you simply have to respect what you said you're gonna do with them. Okay, so the way you behave with them is independent of what you feel necessarily. If you actually respect that person, let's talk, for example, with grandparents. You mostly you respect them before you love them. you know it's like, it's almost there, but what I think is, like, you love them, you respect them, uh, and and that wouldn't change really, because they have the status of, they respect themselves. When you see, like, old people, for example, they respect themselves, and automatically they gave off this feeling of deserving of respect. You see what I'm saying? So if you help somebody that you promise to respect, to actually help, you have integrity with them, you have a respect for their position, you actually care about them, because ultimately you have set this kind of contract in your mind. So this is more permanent. So self-love is more fleeting, is more an attempt to heal. It is not actually a permanent, more coherent, stable way of um, treating yourself, compared to self the self-respect, the self-integrity, the self-honor, that if you cultivate the right way, and you actually be firm on some values, which ultimately works by identifying the values that you want to live by, ultimately you will have more peaceful relationship to who you are, and ultimately a truer relationship to who you are, binding more and more with your authentic self. So I hope you guys understand this vision, this perspective. Um, you know, let me know in the comments if you relate or not. You know, everyone is welcome. And yeah, until next time, guys, remember the heart whispers and the mind speaks. So take care, guys.